Hello and welcome to this tutorial for remediating Word documents for accessibility. We've got a sample document here that we're going to take a look at. We're going to remediate it, and as far as that goes, that's getting rid of actual problems it has. And we're also going to look at doing some improvement to it to make it even more accessible than it was starting out. So first thing we want to do here, you're usually probably over on the Home tab or something when you've been typing. We're going to go to Review. We're going to click that, and there will be a button there for check accessibility. If we click that, it will open up a pane on the right side that will show different topics of accessibility that might have issues in your document. If you see a blue circle with a check mark in it, that means that that topic has cleared accessibility, so it's technically accessible. Um, if you see a number, like we see here and here, that means there are accessibility problems and for each of these topics, and that's a count of how many there are. So missing alt text, we'll take a look at the alt text in this document, and we can click the topic and it'll show us here one of the specific problems. It'll highlight it like it's doing here. This image doesn't have alt text. Alt text is text that is assigned to an image that if the image is presenting information to those reading it, and basically there's no equivalent of that information in the body text of the document or on a web page, whatever the screen reader user is using the screen reader with, that's considered an accessibility error. So we have to apply alt text to images that provide information. In this case, it is a logo letterhead sort of deal here. We can look here, missing alt text. How would you describe this object and its content to someone who is blind or low vision? One or two detailed sentences recommended. You have to be careful with alt text in Microsoft applications. A lot of times it will try to give it its own alt text to the best that it can guess, and it will often be wrong. In this case, it says a logo for a university. AI generated content may be incorrect. This is the AI generated content, and it's partially right, but it's not very specific. So we'll take off that last sentence here, and we might say Wichita State University logo letterhead, something like that. That'd be fine. Another option, if you have images in your document that are just pretty, they're just there to be aesthetically pleasing, they're not providing any information, you can feel free to use the mark as decorative button. Effectively, that will blank all this out, and what'll happen is when a screen reader comes to those images, it's just going to skip them, pretend they're not there, and move on. So that's going to fix our first alt text issue. So we can use the arrows here to navigate through it. So I'm going to click the forward button, and it takes us here. And this is a Venn diagram. This does provide information. And we can see that the AI has generated the alt text, a diagram of service learning. That's technically what it is, but it doesn't provide any of the information inside of the Venn diagram, so to speak. So alt text may be something that's very challenging for you if you haven't done it before to know how to proceed with that. So I have a web page that I set up called the Alt Text Guide, Accessible Alt Text Guide, and you can get to it really easily. There'll be links to it off of the accessibility homepage, of course, but you can also get to it very quickly by going to wichita.edu/alt text help, all one word. That'll take you right there. And if you look through this page, it opens up with an explanation of alt text. And as you go down through, it provides examples of alt text for a variety of things. This is the Venn diagram from before. Here's a bar chart, a map chart, a pie chart, floor plans and maps, some guidance on providing alt text for art pieces. And toward the bottom here, while it doesn't provide examples of them because they're too complex, it gives some guidelines for things like these sort of computer charts, exploded diagrams, maps, things like that. So this is a great resource if you need to. And at the top of it is a menu that you can use to get to any of the topics quickly that are present on the page. In this case, the alt text we want, or we would write, would be the one for the Venn diagram here. The idea here is if you have a Venn diagram or something similar to one of these graphics on a page that you're needing alt text, my alt text is probably really similar to what you're going to need. So you can see how I did it, and you can take it and maybe change it up to match whatever you've got going there. But in this case, we have this alt text here for the Venn diagram. And it reads Venn diagram. 3 circles, first labeled academic material link for course, to course, second labeled reflection, third labeled relevant meaningful service. The circles overlap in a central portion labeled service learning. That pretty much describes the entire Venn diagram, so that's good. So we'll save it. And, oh, we didn't save that. We need to change this back. Wichita State University logo letterhead. I didn't click save, that's why it kept it. Click save, our missing alt texts are now gone. So our other error is a hard to read text contrast. What that means is that there isn't enough contrast between text and something behind it to make it plainly readable to all audiences. People who are colorblind or have other vision issues can have real problems if there's not enough contrast between content on pages and in documents. So we'll look here, and if we open it up, it's pretty obvious where the problem is, but it'll highlight immediately where that contrast error is. Now, you may not know if some content that you have is generating a contrast error. If you don't know that, on my accessible Word page right here for remediation, you will find a color contrast tutorial. And there's a download link for a tool called Color Contrast Analyzer. It's completely free. You can install it, and you can use it to test the contrast of text and such in your documents and on your web pages. In this case, if I were to use the analyzer on our Word doc, open it up, and it looks like this. And it's warning me about this kind of gold text on the white there. Okay, the background color is white. But if I wanted to take a sample of the background, what you do is you click the little eyedropper icon, and you get this selector. I'll select the background. Foreground, that would be the color of the text in this case. Select the eyedropper, move over to the words. You see right in the center of this T here. There we go. And we can see the results of the test. It fails all the way through. Okay, so this gold text on white isn't going to work. So we can look at the options in the accessibility tool if we want. It gives us a brown, a red, and a black. We'll just do black. And that error is gone. So it's pretty much how you use this tool to go through and fix accessibility problems in Word documents. It's quite simple to use. Now we could also do some improvement on this document if we wanted to. This document is all made up of paragraph text. If I go on the Home tab, we can see that. Normal text, equivalent to paragraph text. So what it's going to do is the screen reader is going to just read this straight through, just the way it is, with no emphasis on any of the sections and such. We can improve this by using headings in this document. Effectively, what happens is if you use headings in a document, a screen reader user can build a list of those headings, and they can navigate the document based on the headings to go to sections that they want to read and go by sections that they don't want to read right now. It makes it far easier for them to navigate the document rather than it just all being read at them from top to bottom with no emphasis on anything there. So we're going to use some headings to improve this document's accessibility. We've got document title at the top here. So we want to use headings. And effectively, headings have classification. A heading 1 would be, say, a document title. A heading 2 would be a chapter title. A heading 3 might be a subhead or call out in a chapter. And it goes all the way down in that sort of a pattern from 1 to 6. Or I should say up. It goes up 1 to 6. Okay. So our document title here, we would want that to be a heading 1. If we come up to the styles pane, we can see that we have all kinds of styling options here, right? And it has its own style for that. So I can select heading 1, and it will set it to heading 1. Now we can go through our sections, or like our chapters, they're sections under it, and we can just select the text and do heading 2, like that. And here's a subsection call out for section 2. That would be heading 3. Okay. And we could use it that. Now, you may not like the default styles that Word has set up for the headings. You might want it to be your own style, and you can totally customize that as well. So let's undo all these changes. Okay. And say document title, we might have gone through here and made this, bold, and let's say 24. And the sections, bold and 18. Like this. And we like the way our document looks. We don't want to use the automatic setting and have Word change up our entire look. We can customize this. I'm going to click on the button that says Styles pane here. Okay. And you'll see an option to apply a style to the different text types that we have here. So what we want to do is go select the title of the document. We want that to be a heading 1, right? Come over to heading 1, and as I hover over it, you'll see a drop-down arrow. If I open that drop-down arrow, it gets modify style and update to match selection. Could, of course, use modify to change the default style that Word has, but you may want to use different styles across different documents and not want to do that. Update to match selection. I'm going to select that. And now I've set heading 1 to automatically look like this. And anytime we would have another heading 1 in this document somewhere, it would automatically adjust the style to it. We wouldn't have to do this every time. So we want the sections. That's heading 2. There we go. Update the match selection. And there we go. We have the style that we want, but we have good heading usage in here so that screen reader users will have a far easier time navigating the document. These are particularly good when you've got documents longer than a page, or documents that are very dense, like form. Sometimes you come across a form that has a lot of different areas, topics in it. Having headings before those different topic areas is always a really good idea because forms can take a lot of tabbing to get through for those users. As we come down here, we have a table down here, and the table didn't give us any errors, but it's good to talk about tables a little bit. Tables should always have the same number of cells per row. It's called table regularity. If a table is like, sometimes you see merge cell or things like that, or sometimes there'll be a single cell that a title's placed in. You want to avoid doing that because it can cause some accessibility nightmares. For more on tables, I would recommend going to the word remediation page, and there is a best practices section in there. And if we scroll down a bit, you'll see that I give an example and explain why you should break up big multi-topic tables and show you what they should look like in the end. So I hope this tutorial was useful, and we'll talk to you later.